minimize that. And if you're looking at that option, I think you really are trying to shut down Bjergsen. You're trying to shut down Sven in that late game. Those guys really have been monsters for TSM.
Well, right off the bat, Cloud9 sticking with their jungle bans so far. And again, on blue side, they're going to get first pick here. So if Sejuani and then another tank jungler comes through as the bans, Olaf, then we're doing the same.
We get the salty run back. I will be shocked.
I would be shocked if Cloud9 picked the same champion.
I think your guys are a little bit too predisposed to think that's coming.
What I'm saying. If it happens, I will be shocked, Kobe.
Yes. Meanwhile, we do have similar bans so far, though. So keeping up here, Gangplank also following suit. No big changes here.
Sejuani banned Gragas is my prediction for this one, just to sort of actually push Grig down a little bit in the priority list, but we'll see what comes through. TSM get one final ban before that Cloud9 first pick, and so far we are 5-5, now 6-6 of bans.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I mean, if they go Braum here, I think we're just going to see Bjergsen run it back on the Akali, see what he can get done. You know, one critical difference we could find is, hey, LeBlanc was up last time. That is considered a very good 1v1 matchup into the Akali. Jensen did have lane pressure against Bjergsen. He almost got that solo kill, but was kind of bailed out by the Shen ultimate. So we'll see if he wants to go for something a little bit more aggressive, like the LeBlanc, who could really dominate if playing well.
And I actually like TSM not rush picking Akali, actually. A lot of what I see is teams blue side banning Akali.
Smart.
Because you pick Akali at pick number 3 on red and then get bans to cover the pickup to remove counters. And TSM are set up for that, so Cloud9 either steals Akali away and blinds it, or they reserve the fact that they're going to lose bans and lose the ability to counterpick properly.
Right, and the next step of that evolution is, even if Cloud9 stole it away, the LeBlanc is available for TSM, and Bjergsen can try and take that one.
Yeah, exactly, and you may just force him into just blind picking the Zilean again if he feels comfortable on that, and then, hey, you got the same matchup you got last time. If you're comfortable playing that as Bjergsen, you could run it back on that one more time, but we are going to get Braum Vera, so pretty significant changes there. This is, I think, a much stronger laning duo than that of the Quinn and the Braum, and I think that you could see them have more of an influence in those early stages. We may instead get that early Camille. Could be for jungle or top.
Yeah, it is going to be a flexible pick here, so a new pick in this one. I believe Camille was banned in the second ban phase in Game 1, so that was something that C9 knew was high priority for TSM to get rid of. So now TSM have the option of either matching the jungle top flex or simply going for a blind pick mid and covering it with bans.
I also think a third pick flex here for C9 is really intelligent because it makes it so you can't just get a clear counter pick in this third pick for TSM. It is going to be the Akali regardless, but now you can at least ban out some of the potential counters or tough matchups that he may want to avoid.
And I would go with the LeBlanc and the Galio as the two main ones if you're banning now for TSM. Freaky also mentioned there are other things. You know, you can't play Rise, you can play plenty of things into it, but those are two kind of the biggest.
Absolutely agree. So Galio is the first one. Kobe right on that one.
Yeah,
TSM do still need a jungler, so I'm curious if C9 actually gets rid of things like Gragas.
And Galio Camille is also a really good combination there. I think that Zilean also combos very well with Camille, so we could see them just ignore the LeBlanc and go for double bans on kind of the pairings there, as Bjergsen was able to handle that matchup last time around, but obviously the pieces around the Zilean would be different.
And I think that TSM would hypothesize that is likely a Camille for Blabber, even though it is a flex pick. It definitely seems much more along the lines of Blabber and how they want him to play with his team. They cautioned when he first joined the team about him being a little bit too reckless and maybe a little bit too immature, and that's why he didn't start the season. However, they've also said that's one of the biggest strengths. You know, it is him going for these big initiations, going for the big skirmish plays, and Camille has so many options. When you have her from the jungle, it puts so much pressure on any matchup that you're in, even if it is considered an equal matchup. That kind of gank power can change it.
And Lulu is another strong supportive mid laner that we have seen Jensen play. Traditionally can be very good at shutting down assassins with that polymorph, very, very powerful there. And it also kind of just buffing up and supporting the Varus, who can be a very strong late game carry. So Zilean will be available, as is the LeBlanc, two of the matchups that are considered, you know, pretty reasonable. They're into the Akali, and we'll see what the options are going to be.
And TSM actually going to grab a flexible champion here with this one. This Poppy we've seen in a lot of different roles. Poppy has been played top jungle and support, and a lot of that recently. So still leaves things up in the air. Cloud9 must now lock in their full lineup.
It's also kind of pushing, I feel, the Camille even more towards the jungle, because that matchup is very tough for Camille in the top lane. And if you wanted to go for a LeBlanc as an answer, well, the Heroic Presence can actually answer the Distortion fairly well. So it's kind of limiting C9's options in a number of ways.
Poppy has been rising in priority here across the world because of the stats that she just brings to the tank game and how easy it is to interrupt dashes. Here we go, though. Cloud9 once again pick up the Zillion, probably for Jensen, since there is a Braum and Funnel's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, this is almost a certainty here on this one. Not a surprise. That'll be another mid lane Zillion for himself against the almost certainly Akali. And the final pick's going to be probably Ornn.
One thing I also didn't immediately consider, but that could be potentially a jungle Poppy, you know, and to answer the Camille. Now that we know it is Camille's jungle, you can kind of just pair that Poppy up wherever the Camille is going to go, and then potentially look for a more 1v1 counter pick here for Haunter. So definitely a lot of options left open to TSM, and I think this has been a very intelligent draft.
I agree. So TSM, what's going to round out your lineup? It could be top jungle or support, and it's going to be top lane Sion, Pop moving to jungle. And it's TSM doing an almost entirely full run back as far as lineups are concerned. Poppy replaces Gragas in the jungle, but TSM continue to have a great 3-tank team fighting composition. Cloud9 have changed up almost everything here. A lot of important changes with Camille and Varus being the only 2 champions different, but I think it changes the texture of the game quite a lot.
Yeah, probably going to still look like the same paths, though, right? Because Cloud9 early game oriented, TSM trying to get those couple items on Kai'Sa and try and rely on their mid and late game team fighting, whereas Cloud9 with the skirmishes, we'll see them be a little bit more proactive early on and look for the fights.
I do think one of the big differences, though, is Varus' ability to kill frontline compared to that of the Quinn. We did see how much they struggled to actually focus down Haunter on this Sion. I think Varus is better at doing that, you know, with Blade of the Rune King and these on-hit style of builds. Plus, I think that the 2v2 here for Sneaky and Zeyzal should be stronger than last game. So a lot more kind of eggs in the Sneaky basket.
And they didn't even struggle last time like that. No, bottom lane was a point of power for them last time as well. They got the early turret with everybody roaming down there early on. And that kind of got the snowball started.
So once again, quick stretch out for Licorice. He's going to hope to do his very best here on this one as Cloud9 are heading in as favorites, but down 1 game in this series. TSM have only missed finals once, and they're vowing never again. 1-0 on the scoreboard so far. TSM hoping for a second as we get ourselves into Summoner's Rift in the semifinal.
Very interesting stuff to point out right away. It's actually a swap to Glacial Augment for Haunter in the exact same matchup instead of the Grass. We have a Glacial Augment Braum as well for Zeyzal, and Predator Poppy for those ganks. So some kind of critical change-ups there. And I saw some Glacial Augment Braum, and kind of my understanding of why people are doing this instead of something like a Guardian or a Spellbook is when you're against melee-heavy teams, they're really highly prioritizing applying that slow onto someone like the Sion, the Poppy, and the Shen, you know, limiting their mobility in a fight.
And they're going to have quite a few ways to do that. Meanwhile, to speak on another one of your runes, Azale, the Predator for Poppy has become super popular because without it, she doesn't have that much playmaking. You can flash, try and charge someone into the wall, but that is kind of the extent of her playmaking. Other than that, it's very easy to predict, you know, what Poppy is going to bring to one of those skirmishes. So let's see if Grig can actually have the extra.
E-boy Blabber, jeez.
Yeah, Camille is definitely one of those junglers that needs to get started very early. You can see red buffs into ganks, and you can see early Scuttle Crab control as well. A lot of times, especially if you have a good pushing lane, you can try and use the Camille to get both Scuttle Crabs. So the early wards that we're seeing in the river are very important because those are what teams use so to not get kind of double scuttled.
And we'll track those paths pretty soon. Right now it's going to be a red buff leash. It looks like for both junglers, actually. Sion's going to help out Poppy, and the C9 dual lane's going to help out Blabber down on this one.
It's also worth, taking into consideration. You talked about Camille's ability to sometimes double scuttle, and this is a Predator which gives you really nothing on those first meetings in the jungle, right? There is not that aftershock to kind of improve your dueling as the Poppy and hope to have a little bit better of a 1v1, so that does kind of lend itself to believe that even more of an advantage for Camille in this early 1v1.
And 4 wards by TSM through all of the jungle entrances here early on. You watch those and try and spot Blabber because they're so worried about the early ganks from Camille. The hook shot when you're towards a champion covers so much distance that in the early game when she comes out of Fog of War, it's nearly impossible to get out of it without burning a summoner.
It's going to be level 2 first for the C9 duo. I want to see if Zeyzal walks up, looks for a Glacial Slow or the Q. Looks like it's not going to be the case. TSM able to play far enough back, and they'll catch most of this farm right in front of their turret. We'll see how it goes. Sneaky missed 1 CS on the way over, and Blabber actually waiting in the fog, in the brush, getting around the ward. I don't believe he got spotted by that trinket, and is going to be able to grab this scuttle without much issue.
And he was lying in wait. You know, he wants to take advantage, you know, of the power of this Camille early. But again, that's why TSM spent all of their early wards here throughout both sides of the river, just looking for a glimpse of the Camille. There's no way that Grig wanted to just wander into the river before they had seen Blabber.
And Blabber is now making a move down to the bot side to try to grab that second scuttle. So we'll see if he heads straight there. Looks like he will. Has double buffs, has level 3. So certainly would have the advantage in any eventual fight if Poppy does decide to go for it. But oh, he thought he was spotted there. He thought he was on a ward, and that hookshot could have been coming for him.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think. Makes you second guess yourself. A lot of burst potential can come out. Now everyone knows where each other is.
I like Blabber's passing. If I caught it right, I believe he took part of a camp on his way through, so he got level 3 off of that top scuttle. I believe it was partial wolves. I can verify that later, but if he said he was level 3 for those fights.
Yeah, if you take both small wolves, then you can get level 3 off the scuttle. A lot of people do that and just leave the big one there.
Observer.
There you go.
And thank you, Kobe. Thank you, everyone. What a great day we have here today as Cloud9 and TSM are doing battle on the fields of justice. And all right, now this bot lane is pretty equal. The mid lane kind of the same. Not an eventful early game other than the double scuttle, which is good for Blabber, but somewhat par for the course based on the matchup.
This is going to be interesting. You know, having that Glacial Augment does kind of hurt your actual dueling potential in the 1v1 on the top side, but it does give you a more powerful gank assist and allows you to more easily set up for your Q smash because you can apply the Glacial Augment slow and then go for the slam.
Yeah, it does help you for all-ins, but as you said, makes your laning a little difficult. We can already see this time around a few more CS in Licorice's favor. That can also just be due to the individual trades this time around, but it definitely is annoying later in the game if you have a Glacial Augment Scion dying on the front line, getting back up in zombie mode, makes it difficult for the other melee members fighting against him because the extra slows come out, and he can actually put down a lot of damage and sustain himself.
We'll see if the ganks come through top lane as they did last time. That was a first blood for C9, but it was never really revisited. Of course, as before, there is a Shen, but it's going to be a while to level 6. Pierce is going to try to last it under his turret. Should have 2 at a time. Missing a couple just because of how hard that's going to be. Looks for damage on a Jensen, slowed down, and finds a shuriken and walks away.
Pretty evenly matched. I will say, Jensen is actually farming significantly better than he did at the start of last game. He was prioritizing the push so heavily in last game that he was actually sacrificing a lot of early farm to do it, and at one point was down 8 to 10 CS early. But Grig spotted in the ward. Camille is heading up here too, so they could look for a potential 2v2 if they could bait it.
Be a good bait, yeah. I don't know if he knows he's spotted, but Grig's going to walk right back out, and now they know it's 2v1, so over the wall. They're going to look for the kill right away, and Hans's going to flash away from the hook shot, slowed down, but no more kill to be had.
Yeah, and the Predator was used by Grig there as well, so that's a little bit of a cooldown early on. Not going to have another option. Again, Poppy is not a surprising jungle champion, so to your point, Azale, about the CS in lanes as well, not having the threat of a Gragas coming through and threatening these flashes on you, also going to help out that matchup quite a bit. And now that the Predator's gone as well, it's very easy to track the Poppy.
Yeah, and it allows Blabber to get his 3rd straight scuttle. That's going to be very nice as that was spawning up on the top side. Hansler's going to have to be pretty careful as you see Licorice hitting 6. He is going to be without his flash. Camille could make a repeat game.
Now, as we're talking about all these early options, it is also important to highlight the strengths of Poppy and why you would bring this champion in the jungle, because she does get so incredibly tanky, and of course will be much more useful later on in the 5-on-5 fights for TSM. As you kind of went over in Champ Select, they again have built around 3 tanks for themselves, just protect their 2 main DPS carries for later in the game.
Yeah, there's some critical interactions. That steadfast presence not only can stop the hookshot from Blabber, but it can stop the redirect on the Orin ultimate. It can, block those up. And I've seen, Poppy played against Zilean. If you can knock the Zilean out of a fight, you can sometimes burst someone down before that Zilean ultimate can come out. So definitely a lot of interesting interactions there.
Getting his first recall off, getting his own catalyst, moving towards Abyssal Mask. Not much of an issue for him as he walks back. Hanser, of course, able to forge, or sorry, Licorice able to forge his own, but actually is going for the full recall this time to recoup his resources, and neither top laner will teleport back. They still got that summon if they need it for the bot lane skirmishes. They might come forward. Blabber going to get rid of this ward, and we will see if Cloud9 are able to play for Drake control. In fact, Blabber goes right away. And as the team comes around, this might be a 3v0.
Already we have a huge correction from last time around. This time, Cloud9 winning across the board in CS in their lanes with the early gold allows them also push up the lane and get the first Drake for themselves. This will be their first of the series, taking an early Ocean.
That early Ocean is going to be so big as well. You know, not being able to be pushed out of lanes as easily really can make it very difficult in some of these matchups when people do grab that early Ocean. And we'll see if they want to head back up to the top. You can see Blabber is 6 now as well. Could make that clear up to the top side.
And we just saw there on your screen, the fan votes changing after TSM takes game number 1. Getting quite a bit more support this time around. Cloud9, though, do have an early hold on this game and looking to push in bottom lane once again. Sneaky's got a double wave built up.
Yeah, he's trying to kind of build this up, and we'll see if they want to try to threaten onto Sven. UFC, just even in the way that Sven and Mithy are playing it, they're showing a tremendous amount of respect over to that Varus Braum, knowing they have to give things up early to try to get to those later game stages.
Plus, with that control ward that Zazel put in the side brush, it's very intelligent because if you don't have vision ever of the Camille, then the bottom lane that you're playing against has to respect the possibility. Because if there's a Camille in the side lane brush, they can easily hookshot off the wall. Mid lane though, Jensen.
Down there first one, Jensen. Cloud comes down, good damage out for this. And he's got to respect the chance that maybe an R2 coming through might have been lethal damage, would have been close. Able to stay alive and regen back up with his Catalyst and the Ocean Drake.
Catalyst, Ocean Drake, Biscuits, Corrupting Potion, Time Warp Tonic. They are
a little durable, we'll say.
Basically, all forms of heal over time to get here.
Oh, TP coming in behind.
Sven wants in behind this one, 2v1. Licorice gonna flash, he's gonna be found out by plenty of damage from Kai'Sa. And now how is he gonna get out from this one? A bit of a slow. Now the channel Q, that's gonna be the kill picked up. They hand it over to Sven. First blood to TSM bot lane.
Such a smart move. They double TP up to the top lane there. They get the kill, and they're now in a lane swap here. So they've kind of avoided C9's winning bottom lane, but C9 is first to the push.
Yeah, Cloud9, we're keeping up the pressure, pushing in on the turret. So interesting move there from TSM to actually take the initiative for themselves, make the swap and get first blood bonus while giving up first turret bonus to Cloud9.
Yeah, and I think, you know, overall it's going to be in their favor. They should be able to knock down a turret on the top side, and when you have a winning 2v2 and you can make that trade, you're going to feel really happy.
Especially if you're not going to be gaining any ground on the bottom side anytime soon, right? They would continue to get pushed in. It's a lot of continuing.
Yes.
Well,
this
maybe
series
they
will
can't
continue.
get this turret, actually. And that does make it, you know, much more in C9's favor if they can defend it.
We'll have to see right now, though. Blabber looking around the mid lane, but only to navigate the map. He's, I think, spotted by minions. There's not going to be a gank to be had here. As Licorice walks back to the top side, looks like it is going to be the recalls as TSM can add items to their inventory. And Cloud9 sending their own duo to the side of the map. Blade of the Ruin King finished, though, for Sneaky is quite the power spike. And as I track Sven, he has not turned that yet into a Rage Blade. So this will be a much better item lead for those marksmen on the C9 side.
Yeah, Bork being finished early, very big. So let's see where Sneaky does go on the map right now. Because Cloud9 trying to have 4 people claim this Rift Herald for themselves to get the continue on the turret taking. See if they can actually snowball it like last time. Remember, they kept TSM to 0 turrets for almost 20 minutes. And this time around, they have, again, another tool at their disposal, but haven't critically given up any of the Drakes.
Yeah, and they're not down farm. You know, like they were kind of down gold, even then when there was turrets in C9's favor, even when there was kills being even. So they've done a really good job, I think, laning in general, and they could potentially get this second turret pretty easily with a Rift Herald. So we'll see where they can take it from here.
Notably, the resources Cloud9 spent, they were able to grab Herald, but they will not have TP for when the Drake respawns. The cooldown's simply too long. They've got to navigate around that in about 3 minutes' time. But for now, TSM, of course, can also threaten with the Hanser teleport, and they're starting to play around top side a little bit.
And that's part of the reason they're going to send Licorice down to the bottom lane. You know, he can't play on that top side without TP if they want to focus on Dragon. So you have him down there, ready to potentially fight for that Dragon.
Licorice pushing safely so far. Mithy is without ult for another 40 seconds or so, so Shen not yet going to join anything too crucial, unless I'm missing something. I can't quite tell from the marker. Seems to be down. Either way, it's Bjergsen looking back again towards Jensen, going to find some damage for himself, down to half HP. But again, this Zillion very easy to sustain with.
Also, we might have a rotation here from Licorice. He was pushing in on the bottom side, then made a pass at mid, maybe hoping for one of those long-range Ornn ults that you can see even started out through the jungle to try and make a play on a Bjergsen, but Bjergsen backs off as Hauntzer communicates the move.
And it's a tricky gank to pull off. You really kind of have to have Shroud down for Bjergsen, and even then it may be difficult to actually make happen.
Well, it definitely was down as he keeps on using it for these trades. So I definitely agree at the timing windows, they can be hard to find, but they will present themselves as that's a key part of Akali's lane trade.
There's the minions get pushed back and forth. Akali goes in for the play. They've got Mithy on top of him right now. Over the wall goes Blabber. Will there be a chase?
Predator activated for Grig as well, but they've already escaped. What a big amount of damage done, though. And if you chuck someone out that low, you can gain some area on the map to control even without killing them.
Yeah, Blabber's choosing to stay instead of recall, and Drake spawns in 20 seconds. So an injured Camille might be enough to make the play. Now comes the recall, both he and Zeyzal heading backwards. Sneaky doing it a little bit later. Sven does not have TP to get down here, so if TSM does not recall, it is Cloud9 with the numbers advantage on bot side.
Well, meanwhile, Mithy, well, he's going to channel his recall as well. Oh, they're canceling. Everyone's starting and canceling their recalls. They're debating whether they need to get bottom for the Drake, and it looks like TSM have decided no, they'll continue to push.
Okay, so Ocean will stay on the map, and it's going to be the siege continuing in the top side as they've now spotted Sneaky as well. And we'll wait to see what their choices end up being. Bjergsen walks forward. Suddenly Blabber's here. Will this be the engage? Finds the hook shot, but not onto the champion.
Grig is kind of in the river here onto the side, and Licorice is in the area, so they're going to drop the Rift Trail, trying to create some pressure around this mid lane.
And of course, one of the big things about Assassins in the mid lane, generally not a lot of wave clear there, so having a hard time dealing with this push. Cloud9 grouping up, defending the Rift Herald to allow it to continue and take tower number 2.
Really nicely done. That can give them access now to the Dragon. They can run straight down to that. You can see Licorice is heading that way as Blabber.
Especially with Hauntzer recalling now on the Scion. He does have teleport ready, and he does have his ultimate as well, so he can try and use either of those to get back, but Cloud9, complete control. Just take a look at the minimap. Actually, toggle Fog of War right now. Exactly. It's so dark for TSM, and we just saw
one ward on the whole map.
Cloud9 have about 7 wards throughout both sides of TSM's jungle. TSM definitely working with a lot less information.
And it's now TSM taking the plays that Cloud9 was, trading these Drakes for map control elsewhere. You can see them pushing for top lane tier 1, but first, it's a route onto Grig, and he's stuck inside a turret range, and he's gonna go for the channel. He's gonna knock back only the Braum. Not as Sneaky! He finds the snipe, and it's time for round 2 towards Mithy. The slow's up soon. He's getting hasted. Can he find the kill? The shot's gonna go. Stopwatch buys a second, but there's no way out. Maybe there is. He's still running for his life, and yes, he'll live. Zeyzal might just burn down as the turret shoots him.
Bjergsen is here. He could try to go in for this. We'll see if he looks for it.
Good play out of Mithy. Bjergsen looking for round 2. Slowed out by Jensen, though, and just going to take the damage and walk back.
What a play there from Sneaky. Lands the ultimate under tower while Grig is standing still. They force the extra kill, and the flash comes through, but Cloud9 looking for a dive now.
Looking for it. 4 versus 2. They find the stun. Sven, he's going to go down. The kill goes to Blabber. Here's an Akali, though. Bjergsen under the turret. He's going to feel safe on this one. Goes for the stun, and Sneaky's got to be careful. Zeyzal goes in for the stun. He gets one trade. Can he find the second? No, it'll be shut down. A double kill for Blabber.
And critically, Licorice canceled Hauntzer's TP with his ultimate on the bot side, so Bjergsen was expecting that backup. It never came.
Now Grig here is trying to chase down Zeyzal with the Predator, but he lands the Q, and Cloud9 should be able to get out.
Wow, what a fight. Cloud9 coming out ahead on the top side of the map, and a 2,000 gold lead plus the Drake.
Again, on display, Cloud9's early skirmishing here. So Zeyzal goes in, he takes the ultimate from Poppy. Sneaky flashes over the taunt from Mithy, lands the arrow for the extra kill. Then Mithy actually has a pretty good escape here. Flashes for the distance, then Zhonya's uses his stopwatch under turret, knowing that his taunt will come back up off cooldown afterwards just in time. And they almost baited in the kill from Zeyzal, but then Cloud9 had even more with Blabber flashing onto Sven.
Yeah, and there's that TP getting canceled, but the beautiful combo onto Sven. They burst him down, and despite the fact that Bjergsen is able to get one kill, he does get taken out in the extended fight. And The Zillion ult was up, but just not perhaps expecting that much damage.
He put it on Azazel. We thought the turn was going to come out of the front line. Braum instead, it was Bjergsen who aimed for Sneaky. So this time Jensen didn't guess right, though I can't blame him for looking at the front liner. The way, top lane, outer falls. Cloud9 again, 3 turrets to 0. This time, though, much better map control across the board. Although, as Sven getting some alone time down here, might be able to equalize this a little bit. Licorice.
Oh, Licorice walking into a 1v3.
V3 has the ult, can't channel away until that W ends for Grig. And now looking for the way out. Licorice may not find it. The ult forward for Sven. They will pick this one up. TSM tie the kills, but they're still losing control of the map as top lane tier 2 falls.
And they could keep pressuring here. An extra minion still left. They can try and threaten an inhibitor turret if they keep that minion alive.
Yeah, they're looking like they want to continue, but they're going to maybe rotate down towards mid lane, filter away some of these buffs in the jungle. You can see Zillion was kind of shoving them in the mid side, and C9 certainly coming out ahead as far as the turrets go. They're up 4 turrets to 1. That is most of their gold lead, and now looking to perhaps start to establish vision around this side of the map.
Really thought they were going to keep up the tempo there with the teleport ready on Licorice. Even though he died, he could revive and then teleport up with the rest of the team, but they call it off. They have just 2 outer turrets remaining to take here, 4-1 in favor of Cloud9. And Baron coming up in a minute and a half is going to make it interesting with all the extra vision through this red quadrant of TSM's jungle.
A lot of big ticket items coming up. The Baron, the Infernal is going to be that next dragon that these guys may want to fight very heavily around. That could be a really big one, especially for Cloud9, who has that kind of damage-dealing jungler who is going to get more out of the Infernal than Breakfield.
Definitely a good comp for it here as we wait around the mid-game. 19 minutes now in, tied in kills, but 4-1 in turrets and 2-0 in Ocean Drakes. Cloud9 looking at a comeback now in this series, in the lead in game 2. Drake spawning in a minute 45, and right now C9's members heading to the top side. The Baron and Nash are going to spawn before the Dragon does. Now we look towards the bottom lane as there's a battle between the tanks with Sven coming in behind, 2v1. Ornal comes across, but can he stop this? Maybe so as Blabber comes across, looks for the stun, looks for the play into Sven. But now with Mithy here through Shen, it's going to be that first kill. Sven on the board of the 3rd one now, and no answer for Cloud9.
Another good collapse by TSM, and it is Sven on the Kai'Sa that comes to kill the tank. He has the power to do it with the passive, and that is the 2nd time that they have taken down Licorice in the side lane with him collapsing.
Yeah, they're doing such a good job about using the Glacial Augment, slowing them down. They didn't even have to use the Kai'Sa ult to join in this time around. C9 are pressuring on the top side, but not fast enough to really get anything out of this, and TSM just going to get that 1 kill. They get the push on the bottom side, and they're going to be resetting in time for this Dragon here as well.
Of course, time and chaos be spent on both sides of the river now because that Baron's alive, but right now nothing really pressing towards it too much. Better damage the mid lane, but Hanser's safe to wave clear. Cloud9, though, does seem to own the top river as TSM owns the bottom one. 30 seconds on Infernal Drake. And as C9 walk through a ward, they're going to try to take some of this control back for themselves. Control wards in 3 inventories of theirs. Hanser waiting in the wings, going to find some damage with Blabber, but stays alive. And once again, TSM pushed back as C9 will try to take control of this river. As TSM push in the mid lane, looking for the play on towards Hanser, but he ults away. 2 ults burned by Cloud9. This could be a decent re-engage by TSM if they collapse for it. But Sven's on the far side. He has TP, but he's alone top lane. He's going to find that turret kill easily.
Yeah, TSM just needs to kind of buy time here for Sven up on the top side. Hanser has been on point with these ults.
Oh, they got the stun and the ult. Greg's going to ult back, and he's going to knock out one, but it's still the kill for Sneaky. Not enough time bot, so no jungler gives a lot of space for C9.
Cloud9 are definitely going to take the Infernal Drake here in payment for the top tower and getting that kill and try and continue the push. But TSM's goal of funneling more money onto their Kai'Sa, their late game super hyper carry, he did the most damage in last game, is kind of accomplished there. It's just that they did not want to give up that extra kill to Cloud9, which Blabber did a very good job of jumping on there with the Camille and kind of using that ult to corner Grig.
I mean, these 2 marksmen are basically dead even. It's 20-30 gold separating the 2 of them. They both have 2 completed items. These guys are going to be on very strong team fighters, and as you said, Sven has been monstrous in the late game on this Kai'Sa. He got a pentakill in the quarterfinals, and there's the potential for him to take over. Both these guys got to perform really well.
I feel like these are clearly the 2 most comfortable carry champions for TSM right now. You know, Sven on the Kai'Sa with the pentakill, with the very good performances, and Bjergsen obviously with a huge part in getting them here with the Akali play.
Yeah.
And then it stands to kind of wonder, should you be giving them those big comfort picks, right? That's a tough question to answer, but Greg maybe caught out on the top.
Looking for a fight on the top side. A nice taunt's going to prevent the Ornn knockup from happening, but now they're still chasing towards Sven. He's going to be stunned up pretty soon. Kites backwards, looks to keep himself alive as there's a team joins him, but the first kill's going to come through. Miffy's going to fall. Not in the trade yet towards Blabber. He's been revived by Zillion, and the fight continues. A third picked up already. TSM are routed. They try to find a kill towards Blabber, but they will not get it. The Scion passive falls. With no jungler, it's time for Baron.
Just as we're talking about TSM being comfortable with their carries, you are reminded about the Zillion plus Blabber combination. The revive goes off on the right target this time around, and Cloud9, 5 members strong, starting up Baron.
Bjergsen and Sven, though, closing in, trying to make some heroics happen here around the pit. They don't feel they can give this up.
They send 2 to kill off the Kai'Sa, the Akali rather. She's going to fall, and now Blabber the duel, but Sven wins that fight.
Give
with
the
the help of
jungler
Miffy.
now.
Still, yes, it's the battle of who can smite versus a pretty good damage Kai'Sa.
Greg is
no
coming.
vision inside the pit, though. Can they find a way in? This could get a little bit risky. Will the random steal happen? It's not going to go through. No W's this time.
The double-edged sword of Blabber. Cloud9 themselves cautioned against it. Sometimes you get a little bit too aggressive. That time it was looking for the 1v1. Did not take into account the Shen ultimate that could arrive. But in the end, Cloud9 still secure the Baron.
They definitely do. Blabber
Fight
give it, and Blabber take it away. Here it is one more time. It was a nice taunt from Miffy to interrupt that actually R2 from Licorice on the ultimate, and then Greg doing a good job peeling, and Sven using that stun to build some space for himself, but still, that's not enough.
Yeah, as you can see, Sneaky on the Varus, a machine gun in the back line, firing away over and over. Once you proc that passive on Varus, the attack speed just goes through the roof.
And that's one of the biggest differences, comparing how that fight looked to one with Quinn, where the Quinn is struggling to kind of punch through those frontliners. You give Sneaky that time, you give him that space, he is shredding them, and Blabber was able to give him that time with the Zillion ultimate, with his pressure on his Ven.
That team fight looked a whole lot better for Cloud9 here, and with their Baron buff now under their belts, more than 4,000 gold puts them ahead. A gigantic minion wave being shepherded now by Licorice on the bottom side. We can have a tied score line just a couple of minutes here. 3 Drakes to 0 Baron-ons for 2 minutes still in mid lane tier 2 under fire. TSM completely giving up that part of the map. I will wait to see when they're going to defend their territory. Bot lane tier 2 has some reinforcements. Sven's going to stop this one, but now mid lane's under fire, and TSM not really there on time. They're going to give up that turret as well.
Yeah, they're going to have to give up the inhibitor, and you can see not only is it the gold lead, it's huge experience leads. 3 levels in the mid lane, 2 levels on that marksman.
9 reading for the dive, looking for a bit of damage towards Sven and maybe towards Greg as well. They can't find it though. TSM playing far enough back that there were no extra kills picked up. Cloud9 get their 3 turrets. They take their 1 inhibitor. And they now wait, actually not even the inhib down, just going for bot lane inhib turret itself, going for maximizing gold income just so far. Still a minute and a half on this buff. Hanser could look for something, not going to find much of anything though. No knockup on Azazel. The Dad comes in, this is the fight. Now can TSM win it as he's in the front line? No health bars down, Sneaky on top, they get the trade kill. The Varus is dead. No, again, the assassination, they will knock down Akali. 4v3, Cloud9 looking to re-engage. They find that stun towards Greg, he tanks it as Ven stays alive and the Resurrect comes into the front line. Still 4v3, turret goes down, Hanser being slowed up, being stunned now as well. This will be a 3rd kill for Cloud9. They look for number 4, a double knockup by Licorice. They're gonna find number 5. Greg will indeed fall to the palms, and they're alone in the base to knock down everything.
Cloud9 strike back, and with the Baron buff, they'll be able to even up this series.
And the turrets are gonna fall. No one's left to stop them. A 1-1 scoreline. Cloud9 was supposed to make the finals. They were the number 2 seed, and despite dropping 1, they fire back. The Nexus is theirs. We're going to game 3.
And what a change from game number 1. Cloud9 with a wonderful game here, taking down the Dragons, taking that neutral objective control, and really dictating the pace in the jungle matchup. They made it work for themselves.
What a game. Smiles on their faces, and a better showing all around. Reaper, the coach who had changed his roster so many times, starting to face the barrel of defeat, says, no, I will keep with this roster that I have found.